Hey guys! Welcome to Couple. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. Pacific Rim Uprising is a movie in which giant robots fight giant monsters. It is the sequel to 2013's Pacific Rim, a movie in which giant robots fight giant monsters. Pacific Rim Uprising is slightly different than Pacific Rim, in that in Pacific Rim Uprising, the giant robots first fight other giant robots and then they fight giant monsters. Thank you. He folds the paper before him, and sticks it back in his jacket pocket. I'll take your questions now. Yes, in the front? Reporter number 1, well, that sounds simply ghastly. Critic, frowns, it does? Really? Reporter number 1, yes, just more awful Hollywood CGI schlock. Pure drac. Critic. I'm sorry, who are you with? Reporter number 1, Mise en Scene, the quarterly journal for performatively pained cineasts. Critic, I see. And do you have a question, or? Article continues after sponsorship. Reporter number 1, no, I just wish to express my pained disgust. Critic, okay, well, noted. Next case. Reporter number 1, I saw the trailer, and I said to my wife Simone, "Yuck, there's no way in Hades I'm sitting through that, imagine." Critic, Hades. Reporter number 1, and then we clucked out tongues, the way we do, and sat there a while basking in our keenly developed aesthetic sense. Then we got to wondering who in the world would ever actually see it. Critic, I mean, you shouldn't. Reporter number 1, so you agree? Clock. Critic, do I agree that you shouldn't see it? I very much do. I mean, listen to yourself. You expressly do not count yourself among the cohort of giant robots fight giant monsters potential filmgoers, safe to say. So clearly you shouldn't see it. I mean, I would have thought that was obvious. Unless, I'm sorry, is someone forcing you to go see it? Are there armed gangs of street toughs employed by Universal Studios going house to house and frog marching the hapless citizenry into Pacific Rim Uprising showings across this nation? Reporter number 1, no. Look, I'm just critic, yes, you are just saying, not asking, and I'm here to answer questions about the film Pacific Rim Uprising. This is not a forum for your smug condemnation of the fact that a given piece of popular culture is popular. This is a press conference, not Facebook. Security, kindly remove this person. Next question. Yes, you there. Reporter number 2, what's it about, though? Critic, I'm sorry? What's Pacific Rim Uprising about? Is that seriously your question? Reporter number 2, yes. Film reviews usually provide a synopsis. Critic, did you come in late? Did you miss hearing me read my statement? I'm happy to read it again. Unfolds paper, begins to read, Pacific Rim Uprising is a movie in which giant robots fight giant monsters. It is the sec. Reporter number 2, no, I heard that. But maybe there's more you can tell us about it? How is it different than the first Pacific Rim? Critic, dude, that was in my statement too. The giant robots fight other giant robots for a while, see, and then they. Reporter number 2, Charlie Hunnam. Critic. I'm sorry, are you okay? Do you need some water? Reporter number 2, that's a difference. Charlie Hunnam starred in the first film. So did Idris Elba. Neither one shows up in Pacific Rim Uprising, right? Critic, that's correct. Hunnam is replaced by John Boyega, who's playing the new role of, checks notes, frowns, shrugs, Jake Pentecost, the wastrel son of Elba's character. Other new additions include spunky young rogue/ace pilot Amara, Kelly Spaney, the by-the-book, aggressively cheekboned ace pilot Nate, Scott Eastwood, and a raft of raw recruits who will inevitably be called upon to jump into giant robots and defend Earth before their training is complete. Reporter number 2, what about Rinko Kick? Critic, the giant robots have cool-ass names like, Checks Notes, Bracer Phoenix and Saber Athena and Titan Redeemer and Guardian Bravo and Obsidian Fury and Thunder Urethra. Reporter number 2, can I just, what, really? Critic, I made that last one up, but the others are real. Reporter number 2, what about Rinko Kikuchi as Hunnam's co-pilot/like interest Mako, who was one of the best things about the first movie? Critic, she's back, albeit in a reduced but fairly key role. Also returning is the wacky comedy team of scientists Geisler and Gottlieb, played, respectively, by Charlie Day and Burn Gorman, whose name would also work pretty well for one of those giant robots. If you think about it, Burn Gorman is go for launch. I'll take another question. Yes, you, is that a Godzilla shirt? Reporter number 3, actually it's the Kaiju Otake. From the original Pacific Rim, whose design was inspired, according to that film's production designers Andrew Neskoromny and Carol Spire, as an homage to the dragons of Chinese mythol. Critic, sorry, who are you with? Reporter number 3. Kaiju light up my life. Critic, I see. Reporter number 3. It's a zine. Critic, and your question? Reporter number 3. How many more kaiju are there in Pacific Rim Uprising than there were in Pacific Rim? Like, 80% more, or? Critic, interesting question. For the rest of you, kaiju refers to giant monsters. There are actually fewer. Reporter number 3, shuddering gasp of soul-sick dismay. Critic, I know, right? That surprised me, too. But then and I can't get into precisely how it works, trust me. That's got a lot to do with how this sequel is structured, how its story logic, which is, let's stipulate, just hella dumb, bears its own implacable inevitability. So I'd say, while there are fewer giant monsters, they're used better, if that makes sense. Next question. Yes, you. Reporter number 4, Guillermo del Toro directed the first film, but he's stepped back to the role of producer on this one, and let Stephen S. DeKnight take over. DeKnight's written, directed, and or produced lots of genre television, Daredevil, Spartacus, Angel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but this is his first film. How's he compare? Critic, Well, you know how all of Del Toro's films, even ones coated in a thick yellow layer of cheesiness like Pacific Rim, still feel like him? There's a shambling quality to them, an organic messiness, a tonal, funkiness, I guess. You look at a given scene, and it seems lived in, rich, palpable, you can almost smell it, you know? Reporter number 4. Critic, yeah, not so much here. Pacific Rim Uprising both suffers and benefits from the fact that the first film did all the heavy lifting of building its world, introducing all kinds of narrative processed cheese food like the drift and neural handshakes and whatnot. The new film has some fun with that world, tweaking events from Pacific Rim in a way that nudges right up against the edge of full-on recon, without doing that first film any real disservice. And it keeps the good stuff, like making sure we always know that the entire populace of a given city has evacuated to the safety of underground bunkers before the Mech monster mauling truly begins. It's such a small thing, and it makes such a huge tonal difference. All of that serves to make this new film seem cleaner, brighter, more efficient. It knows its mission parameters, and it ticks them off with alacrity. Next question, in the back? Reporter number 5, so you're saying it's better than Pacific Rim?